And soon after I had gotten up and started dancing, mingling, I dropped to the ground, dead.
Hello and welcome to Beating Cardiac Odds. My name is Greg Coon with Cardiac Crusade. This is a podcast where we talk about everything sudden cardiac arrest. And today we are interviewing a rock star. She's one of my favorite rock star people of all time, Sarah Katzenmaier. Okay, well, first of all, nobody ever screws that name up, do they?
Never.
Didn't think so, because it took me a month to finally figure out, okay, what's the right pronunciation on that thing? So, you know what? Let's start this way. Tell me about your family.
My family. We
Yes.
are fifth generation of Fayette County in Lexington, Kentucky. My parents are in their 90s and they both still live at home about a block from me. My sister and I help take care of them. One does the early morning shift, early meal, and the other does late. And they are happy in their home. And I live here in this house with my husband. I have a 29-year-old son who runs a rental property business, and I help him. That's about it. And my sister lives here in Lexington with her
So,
son.
so you I want you to appreciate this. See what I brought? A little pump, little pump.
Where did you get that?
Ah, I wonder where I got that from. We will get into why I have that in my hands. And it's a great story. I love it. You know what? Let's just jump in. We're going to go back into, pre-sudden cardiac arrest world for you. But let's start with what happened. Was it actually on Halloween, 31st of October?
October 24th. They won't let us do the Thriller parade on Halloween.
Gotcha. Okay. But, okay. Well, first of all, tell us about the Thriller. Is it a parade, you said?
Parade.
Okay.
Well, it's a dance, it's a parade, it's a festival. Every
Festival
year.
is what I had in my head. So, okay. Tell me about the Thriller Festival.
Every year in downtown Lexington, we have the Thriller Parade. I think it's been going on for 20-something years, put on by Mecca Dance Studio and the Lexington City Parks and Recreation. And it's basically about 1,000 people decide they want to dress up as zombies and do the Michael Jackson Thriller dance down Main Street. And about 10,000 people usually come, and they all dress up just in Halloween costumes and probably go bar hopping and other things downtown. And I had done it for 11 years when this happened to me at the Thriller Parade.
So, you're not just putting on a Halloween costume. I've seen pictures. And actually, you attach an image to a contact. It's you in all of this. Describe how did you start doing all that and your participation in the parade and what your zombie getup is all about.
A friend of mine, Charlotte Callan, did it one year as a bride in a wedding dress, and I went down and it looked like so much fun. I decided, well, I'll be a bridesmaid. And I'm a UK fan, so I got a royal blue bridesmaid dress from the nearest consignment shop and ripped it all up and started learning how to do the zombie makeup and added a purse and gloves and shoes and hair ribbons and became a bridesmaid. And I did it the very next year after I saw my friend do it. And I've done it every year since.
Very good. And so they've got to play the Michael Jackson Thriller song a lot, obviously. And is there like a dance or something that you guys do, or tell me about
So
that?
they do it 11 times. We do the dance
gosh.
11 times. So for the month of September and some of October until the parade, we go to a dance studio or a gym. Mecca used to put it on at their place, and now it's at a city gym, city center. And we go and we learn how to do the dance. So it's like a couple of months of free cardio workout and learning a dance. So I love that part as well. And I go back every year to learn it as if I have not done it for 14 years now. And they teach us the dance and they do the choreography and tell us how to do it. And there are so many zombies doing it now that we come out at 5 different places in groups, separate, and then that way we, depending on where you come out and where we end, some people do the thing 11 or 12 times. And if you start at a closer place to the end, you might only do it 3 or 4 times. But most of us start at the Kentucky Theater, And there is a Michael and Ola for each group, and they come out onto the street first and act out the Thriller. And then we come up dead, we're laying on the street acting dead in character, and we rise up, and when the music starts, we're ready, and we do the zombie dance.
Oh my God, that's just so much fun. I've seen video, and it's just crazy fun watching all of that. Now, I'm a product.
It's a blast.
I'm a product of the '80s, and that music video came out when I was in high school. So it was, and that's when at that age in high school, in the '80s, we watched it 100 times. And so, how cool is it that? And that was a groundbreaking music video.
It was
totally.
It still is.
Oh, it still is. Oh, totally. Totally still is. Okay, so you are 2021, and it's in the year 2021, and you are.
So in 2021, it was on October 24th.
October 24th, 2021,
And-
the year 2021.
And I had,
So
I had a day just like any other day. It was Saturday or a Sunday, I can't remember. And I was out dropping lit. I'm very active in a political party here. And I was out dropping lit for between term election, special election. And I went home and I got dressed. I put on all my zombie stuff and everything, and had my husband take a few pictures, so that I would have them, to share. And what usually happens is he goes down and stands a block ahead of where I come out dancing so that he can video me.
Oh, how cool.
So, and this was no different than most years. I mean, I did all the same things. I had done the parade for 11 years prior to that. So there I am in all my makeup, and it's like I really do it up, and I have like guts hanging out of my neck and blood dripping out of my hair. And
Oh my
the whole
God. Do
bit.
you do that makeup yourself, by the way?
Yes, sir, I do.
Wow. It's amazing. So, okay, continue.
So I get in my spot in front of the Kentucky Theater because I like to be there. I think that's where the snobby zombies go, because the Kentucky Theater is an icon here in Lexington. And I think we had just started. I don't think I got through the first dance even, because I was still very close to the Kentucky Theater. And the group I was in are luckily some people who know me and recognize me from year to year. So we started dancing, and we were mingling into the parade crowd because we rise up and join a parade that's already going on. So the Thriller part is sort of the end of the parade, the normal parade, and we ended up. So we were coming out and mingling, and soon after I had gotten up and started dancing, mingling, I dropped to the ground, dead. So I don't remember much of this. Obviously, I don't remember any of it, so it's all secondhand information. But a woman who I have since met, named Charlotte Callan, started the method of clearing. One woman came up and started doing the clear the airways, and then Charlotte recognized that that person wasn't doing it correctly, and then she came up and started doing chest compressions first, Charlotte Callan, and that's how I met her.
So, you were you have full memory up until the moment you dropped?
I think I do, but I don't know if it's because I was taking videos up till then and I have them, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because videos kind of make you think you remember.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm not sure. So anyway, I'm so thankful to the first woman who came up, because she made a crowd draw around, and the crowd is what Charlotte saw and made Charlotte come over. And she had just recently gotten certified in CPR because she was a new employee at the UK healthcare pharmacy. So she took charge, and she started doing chest compressions right away. And again, this is all secondhand information. The first two EMT units that would have covered this area were already out on a call, so it was the third in line to come to the Kentucky. And they had a hard time, obviously, getting through the horde of zombies. There are usually 10,000 spectators for every 1,000 zombies. And finally, they got through, and I'm told that they took over and used an AED, maybe even the Lucas device, to keep me alive en route to the UK hospital. As I mentioned, my husband Barry always goes, but he stands a half a block or a block ahead of me so that he can get videos, ahead of where I'll be dancing. So he was, I don't know if he heard the ambulance or not. If so, he didn't think anything about it and didn't think it was for me, so it never occurred to him. So he kept looking for me, probably knowing he was going to get in trouble for not videoing me dancing. But he went all the way where we always go, he knew the route, obviously, and about 10 blocks down from where we started ends. And he got there and waited at our designated spot. And of course, I never showed up. I was at the UK hospital. And my son, who usually goes to the Thorough Parade, Kagan, he usually goes with friends, but this year he had apparently better plans, so he was not down there. So my husband, Barry, can't find me. So he starts texting and calling my son to say he knows where I might be. So,
and you would not have been carrying a phone with you, or did
my
you?
phone apparently fell to the street, but someone put it with me. So my
Oh,
phone
wow.
was with me,
Okay.
which is key.
Yeah.
So I would not have expected my husband to think anything other than that I just ran into friends or I was stopping to help someone, because I, do things like that. But Kagan thought enough to use the app on the iPhone called Find My.
Yep.
Luckily, my whole family agrees to be stalked. So we all use Find My on our phone. Thank goodness.
Yep.
So he sees that I am near the UK hospital. So he goes there immediately. This was during COVID, so they won't just let him come in and check in and,
Sure.
walk around. It's very secure. And I'm not even checked in yet. So asking registration doesn't do him any good, really. Plus, I was checked in as a Jane Doe. Even though I had my phone, they checked me in as a Jane Doe. And luckily, my son is very resourceful. And somehow he arranges to get around security without them noticing and gets in. I don't know the details of that, but
We won't ask, we won't tell.
won't tell. And because he can see me on the app, he knows he's right where I am, but it's a 10-story building. And so
Right.
that app doesn't do vertical.
Yep. Yep.
So he was persistent, and he had no idea what floor, but he kept looking and figured it out. And he ended up in the area where they were taking me before I got there. So he found me. So the very
No. Okay.
next
So
photo
now,
on,
are you? Okay. Go ahead, finish that part of the story. We're going to go back a little bit. Go ahead, though.
sure. So the next photo on my camera is me on my birthday on October 29th, 5 days later, where the nurses were singing to me. But I don't remember that. Even with the video of it, I don't remember that. I guess I was in a medically induced coma for probably a week. I'm not sure. And then after that, they did the pacemaker and defibrillator.
And actually, that was going to be my question. So you have memory up until close to or right at the point when you dropped, and then
I think I do. I think I do because the pictures and I think I do.
right,
The pictures jogged it enough that I think I do.
but relatively close. Whether it's a couple minutes or maybe an hour, whatever it is. It's not like you lost memory prior for like.
I was taking video at 7:16, and I think I dropped at 7:19.
Okay, so pretty much right up to the moment.
I was taking video.
There are some sudden cardiac arrest patients who lose memory for like a week or a month before their cardiac arrest event. So, and then afterwards, let's jump ahead. So you don't have memory of your son finding you. What is your first memory after your sudden cardiac arrest?
I think I remember being in the hospital the day that they say, okay, it's time for you to get yourself out of bed and go take a shower and see if you can move around. I think I remember that trip down that hall to a shared shower area, because I kind of have some nightmares about that. So I think I must remember that. But I don't remember much else there. The next thing that's vivid enough for me to know that I remembered it is that, sorry about my cat, that I'm at home, I'm back home well enough to cook dinner for my family, and that was like 14 days later.
Oh wow! So you had a
yeah.
couple weeks before you had your recollection, your memory rather.
And that's when the cardio PT started, and I met Jacob Stone's team and all that.
That's awesome. Okay, so while you were in there, you did get an ICD implant, right?
Yes.
Okay. Has it ever gone off?
Nope.
Do
I'm knocking on wood.
Did you ever get a reason on why you had a sudden cardiac arrest?
they didn't know for the longest time. And so when I would go back for my 3-month, 4-month, checkup, 6 months yearly checkup, the only thing we can figure it was maybe a strain of the COVID virus that I had not been boosted for. I was up to date on all my booster. I was very diligent, but that's all that they can think of because
Wow.
it wasn't anything else.
Yeah, with Julie, and for those watching, when I say Julie and why am I doing all this, you know what? Let me go explain. So, um, my wife and I started a charity called Cardiac Crusade, and it started after my wife had a sudden cardiac arrest, and she was standing on the sidewalk at our local high school talking to a friend, and she was talking to her just totally great, and then she felt faint, and she felt like she just fainted. She reached out to my wife reached out to her friend's shoulder, never made her shoulder, and within 911 was called immediately. She got CPR within 45 seconds, and she got the first of 2 shocks within 2 minutes. So the stars aligned in crazy ways, which is great, which is why she's doing great right now. It did take 2 shocks to get her heart back into a normal rhythm. And now I understand. Now I understand first of all, the difference between a cardiac arrest and a heart attack. A heart attack is plumbing. A plumbing, where your arteries get more and more clogged, and you have signs like shortness of breath, pain, tingling in your shoulder area, your arm, all the signs that everyone hears about. You're having a heart attack when that's happening. You have the ability to you're awake, you're conscious when this is happening. So you've got time. Now, sometimes it's like a minute, an hour, days, but you could sometimes have these signs for a good amount of time if you just go to the hospital and get checked out. A heart attack is quite survivable. Now, on the other side, sudden cardiac arrest. Yes, it involves a heart, but they're totally different. It's an electrical situation with your heart, where your heart's going da-dun, 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 and then it goes from that to this. Or it beats super fast is the other extreme. But basically it's doing this. And with the shock from the AED and the pads that you put on the body, what it does is it takes it going from this back to the normal rhythm. So the survival rate is 10% nationally, meaning 90% die, which is crazy. Now, doing CPR is essential because what you're doing is feeding the brain oxygen, so your brain doesn't start to die. There's many people that survive a sudden cardiac arrest, but let's say they didn't get CPR for 4 minutes, 6 minutes, or something. Well, after 3 minutes, your brain starts to die. So what you're doing is you're providing oxygenated blood to the brain by doing CPR, so it's essential. But the only thing that will restart the heart is a shock from an AED. That's why we need to know where the AEDs are. So I'm learning all of this. I understand the difference between the two, and now I'm like, now I need to know where the closest AED is. So the chain of survival: someone has a sudden cardiac arrest, call 911. You got to get them on a way. Number 2, start CPR. You're buying minutes by doing that. And then number 3, get an AED. Well, there's a huge gap. It's a huge gap between step number 2 and step number 3. Where the hell is the closest AED? So that's our mission with Cardiac Crusade, is mapping AEDs. And I looked at my phone and I said, why is it that I can say, hey Google, hey Siri, where's the closest Starbucks? But I can't do that with an AED. To me, it just seems crazy. So we started a petition on change.org to get Google and Apple Maps to have it on their platforms, and not some list, not an app, not a website somewhere that you've got, it had to be that fast and that efficient by saying, hey Google, hey Siri, and asking where the closest AED is. From that, someone who knew someone who knew someone who knew someone at Google Maps said, let's talk. And so we started talking. Now, Julie had her sudden cardiac arrest in 2018, and we started the conversations with Google Maps in 2019. We made incredible headway. And this is not a video about Cardiac Crusade. This is a video about Sarah. So I'm not going to go into the details and where we are with all of that, but we've made incredible progress. We're not there yet. but coming soon. Now, what we're doing in the meantime is we're populating the map, because the database comes from a database of AED locations comes from a source. Our source is our database partner, PulsePoint. They're the only entity that verifies AED locations. There's a lot of lists out there, but PulsePoint is really the only one that works on a national level. So we've been working with PulsePoint to map AEDs, and what they do is all those mapped AEDs today are instantly available and accessible to local 911 operators, and then soon to Google and Apple Maps when that time comes. So that's what we are doing, and I'm going to segue into that little statement, and I want you to tell me about the AED that was located at the Kentucky Theater.
Yes, while Charlotte Callan was doing CPR on me and the EMTs were in the ambulance trying to get through the crowd, there was an AED inside the Kentucky Theater, unbeknownst to anyone. If we had known that or had this wonderful ability that we're working on now, it would have been a lot easier.
And absolutely. So how many minutes did it take till the paramedics arrived to you?
I think it was at least 10, maybe 12.
So
they got
them doing
which is
CPR,
amazing considering 10,000 people.
Totally. Yeah, and that time can get longer, and so you had really, really good CPR done on you then. You had very good quality, high quality CPR done to keep your brain from dying.
It was an amazing chain of events. From the first woman who drew attention to me for dropping, because, we're all dressed as zombies, and it's a parade, and everybody is, drinking. It's a crazy crowd. So I appreciate that woman, and then Charlotte Callan for taking the initiative to say, get out of the way and let me do it right. I really, really appreciate that, all the way to the EMTs, whom I have since met. I just can't thank them all enough. And the EMTs who got me, it was Matt Dixon and Kyle Carr, and they got me to the UK hospital. Thank goodness for Dr. Vedant Gupta and the team at UK Healthcare. They made like a series of decisions that kept me alive, that, any one of those decisions could have changed the outcome, because it's such an unusual thing. So I want to thank them. And then they passed me off after that to the cardio PT group, where I met Dr. Jacob Stone, and, he got me back heart healthy and everything. And it was just an amazing string of events and people who, it really does take a village.
Absolutely. Julie had they titled it something like Celebrating Julie Coon or whatever it was. Yes, there were the paramedics, but there was a whole row of people that were part of that survival chain, that were a big part of it. And so, yeah, it definitely takes a village, that's for sure. So if you collapse in front of the theater and it was hooked up to Google Maps or Apple Maps or even the 911 system, and they recognize that you're not breathing, that your heart's not beating, and they recognize where's the closest AED. And if someone would have said, hey Google, hey Siri, where's the closest AED? And let's say it's all set up and running, how soon would that AED have been to where you were located when you dropped?
Well, I'm friends with the manager of the Kentucky Theater, Fred Mills. He would have grabbed that thing off the wall and run out there himself, probably within 60 to 90 seconds at the most.
Absolutely. Yeah, you were right there. So that's the difference between life and death. Now, there's a lot of exceptions to the rules that you're breaking, because you didn't have a shock for 10 minutes, but you're still around because of very high quality CPR. But if you would have had
Charlotte Callan.
Totally. Yeah, she rocked it. Did she break ribs?
And UK Healthcare making her get certified right away as a new employee.
Totally. And
American Heart for promoting it all over the place here. So many
There's
people.
so many reasons to get her to that point where she is ready and willing and confident enough to say, okay.
Yes, and she was a student, and she said that this experience made her realize that she did have the competence and what it took to, tell others who didn't know what they were doing to get out of the way so that she could do it. And she said that was sort of a turning point that helped her decide to go back to med school.
Let's do something here. I think, Sarah, you and I agree, everyone should take CPR classes and AED
Hell
classes.
yes.
Hell
Why
yeah.
not?
Hell yes. Do it. But if for some reason you have not officially taken the classes, can you still be helpful? Of course you can.
Absolutely. If you even watch a 5-minute thing on YouTube, it's better than nothing.
So all you have to do is, first of all, if they are not breathing, here's the thing. Here's the kind of the big thing. Anyone could tell. If they're not breathing, do CPR. Now, there's little nuances, and let's say it's they're not breathing, but there's still a heartbeat and they're still kind of conscious. If you start doing CPR on a person and you wake them up, cool. That's good. That's okay. Absolutely. But if they're not breathing, start CPR. Just put your hands right over the top of their chest and go straight down on their sternum, about 2 inches in and out, and do it to the beat of Staying Alive.
Staying alive.
There it is.
Staying alive. Staying alive.
Yep. So there's your lesson, people. First of all, get trained, get trained CPR and AED trained. But there's your lesson right there. Okay. Tell me about your what you've done since your sudden cardiac arrest. Before you met me.
Yeah, before I met you. Was there life before you, Greg?
Hell no. I've tried to convince everyone that.
Back to life, trying to figure out how to move on from that. Like I said, after I got out of the hospital, I did the PT stuff religiously. My son, kinesiology graduate, so he got me eating healthy and all that. Even though it wasn't really heart disease, we still, I did the PT, I did everything, so as not to be a burden on my family. Started eating right and doing all that stuff. But the first thing I thought I should do was thank Charlotte, thank Matt, thank Kyle, thank Dr. Gupta. I hesitated reaching out to Charlotte for a long time.
Why is that?
Because I didn't know what to say to the person who stepped up in a crowd of zombies and saved your life. What do you say to someone like that? And I know that sounds like a lame excuse, but it was overwhelming to me. It really was.
Yeah.
Luckily, my sister had gotten the names of the EMTs somehow, so I finally reached out to them, and that was a little easier. So I went around to the fire stations to find them because they work all over the place. And, she drove me around to take them some goodie bags, give them some gift cards and thank them and take selfies with them. And then eventually, I kept putting it off, but I finally contacted Charlotte. And that was through a series of people knew this, who knew that person, who knew the first lady who got to me, who knew another one.
Sure.
And it was a roundabout way, but we found Charlotte. And I'm still really fuzzy about what I said to her the first time, but we set up a dinner with my family so that my family could thank her as well as me thanking her. And and so we all got together and had a dinner and thanked her, and then we stayed connected and we hit it off. And so then I decided, okay, what can I do to thank her seriously? A gift card. Okay, yeah, now what? So I went to where my comfort zone is and did something a little political. I went to my city council person, James Brown, and I asked him what he could do. He said, let me ask the mayor. I'll get back to you. So he went to our mayor, Linda Gordon, to recognize Charlotte Callan with the Spirit of Lexington Award. So now in Lexington, February 17th is Charlotte Callan Day. She also honored the two EMTs, Matt Dixon and Kyle Carr. And that was a really good feeling moment to me because it was like, okay, they've gotten public recognition for that other than just Sarah saying, gee, thanks. So that was a good feeling.
That's amazing. Wow.
I still send them thank you notes and gift cards on anniversaries and special occasions. And I see them ever so often because I've gotten involved with the fire department and the American Heart Association. So for CPR awareness events, they'll invite me and then I'll drag Charlotte along because, I'm the survivor. I just laid there. She took action. She was the hero. She's the one who stepped up.
Yeah.
She's the one who saved my life.
Yeah.
So she needs to be there and tell that story so that people are encouraged to do what she did.
Right.
So I drag her into everything. And she comes along.
Julie says the same thing. All she did was collapse. She didn't, quote unquote, do anything. It's the ones that took action. Yeah.
So that's why I feel like I need to do things now.
While you can, while
Yes.
you're able to, and that you have a second chance at life, that died and came back to life.
And I've always been involved in local nonprofits and done tons of volunteer work my whole life. So this just seemed like a natural thing to start getting involved with, American Heart, anybody who wants to, promote CPR, increase the awareness of what a sudden cardiac event is, because most people don't. And most people still go, it was just a heart attack.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm first in line. I had no idea before
neither.
Julie's cardiac arrest.
Me
Yeah,
neither.
totally. And that's 90% plus of the people that we talk to. They're like, that's usually the first question I ask when, hey, I hear you have this charity, what is it all about? My first question usually is, well, do you know the difference between a heart attack and cardiac arrest? And 90%.
My first reaction was, what do you mean? I haven't eaten red meat in 30 years. My BMI is 24. What are you talking about? What the hell?
You mentioned you were hesitant or you were unsure. What would you say, to your rescuer? And if you have 100 people, 100 SCA patients, you've got 100 different reactions. With me, I could not wait to meet all of them. And I was like, they came to the hospital because Julie was in there for a week, and I lived there for a week with her, and we met the twin girls, we met the two athletic director, the coach. The EMTs came up, our preacher came in, everyone, it was a train of people that came in to see us, but we met them all immediately, and I wanted to know minute by minute what happened, but that's me, that's how I am. Let me go to the other way around. So yes, I am a co-survivor, but I'm also a first responder. I play old man ice hockey, just beer league, and there was a guy who had a cardiac arrest on the ice in the game after us, and I ran out there on the ice, and he was laying flat on his back. I did CPR, I broke ribs, and he survived. A lot of details about that story, but this is a story. This is a video about you, not him. What I'm trying to get to is, I have reached out to his wife and have communicated with his wife. I don't know, a few, half a dozen times over the months. It's been oh my God, we're coming up on 2 years. No, 1 year. It's 1 year. They want to stay private. They don't want to meet anyone, which is totally cool. Whatever they want, however, whatever level they want, if they want to meet with me, I'd be more than happy to. But they are not ready. They don't want to for whatever reason, and that is totally fine. So to your point, they may be ready next month, or maybe in 10 years, or maybe never. But everyone has a different way of dealing with a situation like a sudden cardiac arrest.
We do. I wanted to know everything, and I wasn't like shy about, from the point of view like you just explained. I was just shy about, I wouldn't be appreciative enough. I wouldn't come across genuine enough. I just didn't think.
Do you thank someone that saved your life?
I don't know what you say to someone.
Yeah.
But every time something comes up, luckily, I mean, we've really connected, Charlotte and me. Like the following year, I think it was American Heart that said, "Would you like to be the Grand Marshal of the parade?" I'm like, "Could I still dance as a zombie if I'm the Grand Marshal?" Maybe.
So you did the Grand Marshal, and you're the Grand Marshal.
What I did was I said, only if you draw attention to the hero, Charlotte Callan, and she'll do it with me. So Charlotte did it with me, and they made up this banner, saying that CPR saves lives, even zombies' lives. And they did this little poster thing for us, and we got to sit on the back of a Corvette. And Charlotte stayed on the Corvette throughout the parade, and I jumped off and did the zombie dance.
Oh, that's so cool. And I love it that you guys are good friends, and we're still connected to our Julie calls them her angels, and so we're still very connected with them. Absolutely.
And another time, one of the people I've met through American Heart, Mike Turner, who teaches classes at the University of Kentucky for students who are taking classes not to be a doctor but need medical stuff. as a side, he does the CPR and first aid classes, and he asked Charlotte and me to speak so that we could have, a survivor and the bystander point of view. And that was really cool, us doing a little story together for students, and they really appreciated it and asked good questions. And every time I do something like the American Heart Association walk that we do here in Keeneland at the racetrack every year, I raise about $2,000 a year. Charlotte will do stuff like that with me. So it's really nice. So we do a lot of things like that. We went to Frankfurt to meet with Senator Reggie Thomas with the American Heart Association to try to get funding for a 2016 bill that passed in Kentucky for every high school student to have to learn CPR. So they passed the bill, but they didn't put any funding. So we're working on that legislation. Just all sorts of things like that I pull her into, she's helping me with now. She's on some advisory board at the University of Kentucky I can't recall the name of. And then I'm on a patient advisory board at UK, for the cardiac stuff through Dr. Vedant Gupta. And then I met you.
So, yeah, and that's where I was going there next, baby. So you've done all of this stuff. And where is it that we first, I guess, quote unquote, saw each other?
So a lot of people suggested, have you seen a therapist? You need to see a therapist, that sort of thing. And it was like, okay, I'm on this patient advisory board at UK Healthcare, and I am the one there just singing their praises, saying how well they coordinated all the different departments together. Because I think out of their 15 departments, I think 12 of them had to deal with me at some point, whether from admittance to pharmacy to surgery to, everything, to physical therapy and so forth. But there was no psychological stuff. So I brought that up at one of our patient advisory board things. And lo and behold, they started that as a service. And I got to go and have some therapy sessions as a sudden cardiac arrest survivor. So they have been so responsive to this. It's overwhelming to me. And they suggested, are there groups and things like that? And I was like, well, I'm on this Facebook page, and I go to some of these phone calls, and I met this guy named Greg. Guess what he's doing? Cardiac Crusade. So that's how I met you. And once I heard your story, I could not wait to get involved. But I had a lot of other stuff going on, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
And so now is the time. And so I finally reached out before the holidays, and we are connected, and I'm so excited to help with Cardiac Crusade. So that's where I am.
And we are going to save lives in Lexington.
Hell yes.
Yeah. And, so the survival rate, like I said, is 10% nationally, but in San Diego, where 2,600 plus AEDs are mapped, their survival rate is between 50 and 70%. Obviously, it depends on where you are in the city, but that makes a difference in mapping AEDs, and it will save lives. Underline, bold, all the above, by mapping AEDs. But 911 also has to get involved. Their operators need to know where they are. After Julie had her cardiac arrest here in Plano, which is a suburb north of Dallas, typical suburbia USA. And we learn about this whole thing in PulsePoint, which is the database partner in Plano subscribes to PulsePoint. So they do these push notifications in case there's a sudden cardiac arrest in your area, which is great. Julie and I meet with the medical director for the city of Plano. And I see, the map. Here are the AEDs on the map. And I said, okay, there's X number of mapped AEDs in the city of Plano, which is great, but how many are not on the map? And he kind of shrugs his shoulders, kind of thing. And he goes, well, you don't know what you don't know. But he goes, 10%? I'm like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. That means 90% of the AEDs that are available and are there, they're there to help save a life. But you might as well have them in a closet, or in a drawer somewhere. It's not doing anyone any good if you don't know where they are. You have to know where they are, and you have to know where they are instantly. That's why it's important for the 911 operators to know. I love my great idea of having it on Google and Apple Maps, but frankly, it's going to be more impactful that the 911 operators know where they are, because they're gonna get a call from 911.
Yep.
And having it on Google and Apple Maps is going to be huge, just for awareness purposes. And in case there's an emergency, you can just say, "Hey Google, hey Siri, where's the closest AED?" and you'll show up. It's still our goal, but us mapping and having an army of volunteers go out and map AEDs will save lives. I mean, that's proven in San Diego. And if you get I don't know if I've asked you this question, see if you know it. If you do, you probably do. I think I've probably said it before. If you get a shock within 2 minutes, do you know what the survival rate is?
I don't know the answer, Greg.
Ah, okay. Do you want to take a guess? If the national average is 10%, if you get a shock within 2 minutes, what is that person's survival rate chances?
60?
80. Right.
Wow.
What about
Not bad. Not bad.
What about within 1 minute?
Then 1 minute, that was 80. Higher than 80.
Yep, 90%. You have a 90% chance of survival if you get a shock within 1 minute. Now,
Wow.
you have to have one super close, and you've got to take immediate action. I mean, there's a lot of things in there.
Yeah.
But a cardiac arrest, just like a heart attack, can be survivable if you pay attention to the signs of a heart attack and you go to the hospital. If you have a cardiac arrest, that you've got to be in proximity to an AED, obviously, and there's a lot of variables there. But if you can find it and bring it like it was at the theater in front of where you collapsed, if you didn't get good quality CPR, sorry, Sarah, we would not be having this conversation.
We would not.
No,
I hope
at
I'm the
all.
one who gets to put the Kentucky Theater's AED on the map. I'm going to be first.
That is awesome. Okay. You mentioned something earlier, and this is a very important, in my opinion, is that you went to get some therapy. Now, therapy is needed not just for the survivor, but the co-survivor, for the rescuers, for the family members, for just the bystanders. Do you want to share what your therapy was like? What was it that you were needing help with? I want others that are watching this to help identify themselves and thinking, okay, yeah, I should probably talk to someone. Do you want to talk to that?
Sure. You might not like my answer.
What it is? No, it's your answer, which is important.
I think the best therapy for me was what I did. My son had just bought a brewery, and it required, 24/7 attention, and it kept me busy and kept my mind off of that and let me get some confidence back and feel good and have purpose every day and just stay busy. And then, of course, all the other things that I do, have kept me busy. Going to the therapist at UK Healthcare was great, and I enjoyed it. But I think the keeping busy and proving to myself I still could be busy was a lot more for this than the talking about it. I think the talking about it, since it came, I think it was like about a year, actually it was about 2 years after my sudden cardiac arrest that I actually did the therapy at UK. And I think the timing of that made it okay. But I think if I had done that right away, I don't know that I would have let it help me. Because I had to prove that I could get up every day and go do something and have a purpose and accomplish something. And at the end of the day, check off my to-do list.
And I've mentioned before, if you have 100 different SCA patients, you have 100 different ways that they deal with it. You know what I did?
What?
After Julie's sudden cardiac arrest?
What?
Started a charity.
I kind of thought that's what you did.
Yep.
I'm glad you did, Greg.
Yep.
I appreciate this.
But it gives me purpose.
Yes.
It gives me, what am I going to do about it? And what can I do about it? I see a huge gap
Yeah.
where something needed to happen. I mean, the chain of survival is so essential. You got to call 911, start CPR, get the AED, but where the fuck is the AED?
Yes.
So, yeah.
And
That's
my whole life, I've done charity work, volunteer work, served on boards. This really makes me feel like when we get through this campaign, we will have made such a difference here, such a difference. Then I think I can actually really retire and go hang out at the beach and pick up a new bad habit.
oh, I can't wait for a new bad habit.
My only one is Diet Coke.
Oh my God, that is so funny. That is so great, but it's so true. And okay, so I play hockey, and so we have a dark sense of humor in the SCA world. I would say 95% of all of us in the SCA, we have a dark sense of humor because we freaking died. I didn't die. You died. My wife died. She came back to, life. What are you going to do with your life now? And so I was getting dressed yesterday for my game, and the goalie has his undershirt, and it says, his shirt, it's all red, and it's "Hell was boring."
I came
And
back.
I looked at that. I'm like, oh my God. And he was like, because it's like, I want to, I had in my mind, I'm connected to with sudden cardiac arrest. It was like, yeah, I lived a life that was so freaking crazy. I'm going to hell. But you know what? Hell was boring. So I came back.
I love it.
I love
need
that
one.
shirt. But that's the
I
kind
need
of
one.
sense of humor that we all have. And,
I know
okay.
people look at me when I say I died, they look at you like,
I
why are
know.
you saying that? And I go, and I'm a real life zombie now. And it kind of throws them a
Absolutely.
little. They
And,
don't know
and,
what to say.
and the parallels between you actually being a zombie, which is a dead entity, whatever whatever it is, and then you actually actually dying as a zombie. I mean, and then coming back to life.
What are the odds?
Nuts, just crazy. Okay, so we are working together. Let's kind of wrap up what we're doing in Lexington, and we'll wrap this whole thing up. The goal is to map AEDs in Lexington and the county of Fayette. I'll get that. I just learned that today, what the county is. And we're going to map, a goal is 1,000 plus AEDs in the county. And there are a lot of details coming up, but we'll have a launch party on October 16th, which is, you know what day that is? You know what day it is?
October 16th is a Friday.
It's a National
The
Restart a
opening
Heart
day of Keeneland.
Oh, that too. But where I was going with that, it's National Restart a Heart Day.
Yes, that's your line.
Yeah, that's true. And then we'll end up on Valentine's Day, just because it's like a 4-month block of time. So anyway, we've got a 4-month campaign. We're months ahead of schedule, which is great. And we are making some real headway. And I think the big one is that Lexington 911 system is on board.
They have showed up. They have
They've showed up.
supported.
I know.
E911, the fire department, they've all very supportive.
It's a
They're already getting down into the technical stuff.
And so you put our efforts to map AEDs, and you get the 911 system that are going to incorporate that into their 911 operators' screens. Will save lives. Someone's going to be alive that wouldn't have otherwise. And we'll see those results, for years to come. This is not just a one-off. This is cumulative. Of the 100, so cumulative, of all the efforts that Cardiac Crusade has done in the couple years that we've been doing stuff, we have mapped over 10,000 AEDs.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. 10,000 AEDs.
All with volunteers.
Volunteers from different sources, but yeah, different, from different sources. Let me just keep it simple. But 10,000. But that 10,000, because of HIPAA, you can't interview John Smith, who is now alive because of our efforts. We don't have access to that data. Statistically, though, those 10,000 plus AEDs that are mapped are saving 16 lives every year. That's statistically the numbers. So,
Awesome.
it's Yeah, that's what drives me. So anyway, that's
So
what
for
we're being.
Lexington, can we do our call to action for Lexington?
Oh, we should. Oh, it's going to be all over Lexington. We're going to have so much fun in Lexington. I've never been to Kentucky. I can't wait to go to
We
Kentucky.
will make you feel at home.
I'm just bring me some bourbon, baby.
I already sent you some bourbon. Don't tell anybody.
Oh God, yes.
But can we tell people what we need? We need volunteers. We need sponsors.
Yes, we need volunteers. We need sponsors. And the volunteers, and actually, if you're a volunteer, if you're in Lexington or in the area, go to cardiaccrusade.org and start training now. And what that'll do is take you to a 20-minute online training course. And what that does is it allows you to be certified to make an AED location verified. I'm trying to do all
And
my
if you
words
do,
there.
I'll bring you one of these.
Oh, there you go. And you get a free T-shirt. You get a Cardiac Crusade volunteer T-shirt for sure. But that's one thing you can do. We're also looking for, because we need funds to help make this happen.
We want sponsors. We want people who want to put their name with us out there saying we're saving lives in Lexington.
And totally. And you will be part of an incredible group of people that are saving lives and doing good for the community. This is what that's all about.
And at the end, you get bragging rights.
Brag away. Stand on top of the mountain and brag away.
But please consider volunteering. You really just have to take the training, which they say is 20 minutes. I say it's maybe 30. And then anytime you see an AED, you can take the time to verify it or not, if you have time.
Yeah, and actually,
From now on.
yeah, and once you become a certified verifier after you've taken this 20 to 30 minute class, I have added a couple videos, so it is a little bit longer. Let's say 30 minutes. Every AED you add will instantly become available to the 911 operators in that area, and can save a life.
And you can add one AED or 100.
Absolutely. Oh, we've got some volunteers that are well over 100. There's one in Buffalo that did over 200, I think. Crazy good. So anyway.
Think of the time commitment and the possibility of saving a life.
Yeah, and it takes, if you see an AED and you're adding it to the map, it literally takes less than 30 seconds. You just go to it, take a picture, put in the information, the street address, the location information.
And the app tells you most of that.
Totally. It fills in the blanks. Yeah.
It really does. It types ahead even.
No, totally. Okay. Is there a question I should have asked you, or is there something anything else you want to say?
I am just so appreciative that you started Cardiac Crusade, and it is at a time when I can help put Lexington on the map, literally.
Totally.
So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. You're taking the bull by the horns, and that's when when we were in Buffalo, my cousin took the bull by the horns, and a few other kind of that core group. We've got the same thing in Boston. We've got the Boston Shock Squad is what that group is called, that I'm a part of too. But it takes someone like you to take the bull by the horns in their local community that knows everyone.
And we're going to be called the Cardiac Cats.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. That's what the group.
Go Cats. We've got a game in 20 minutes.
We got to wrap this baby up. Okay, Sarah, I do appreciate it. We got a long, wonderful road in front of us, and this is just the beginning of a long, wonderful relationship and friendship and working together to save lives. So, Sarah, thank you so much for this time.
Thank you.
Love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.